Hello, curious minds. Welcome back to Kingdoms and Colonies Uncovered. Today, instead of castles and conquests, we're soaring through the skies. Think of Air Force One as a royal carriage in the air, only way more powerful. Let's trace its evolution from chunky prop-driven transports to sleek flying command centers. 1. The Sacred Cow. Douglas C-54, Skymaster. Our journey begins in 1945. Presidents Roosevelt and Truman flew aboard the Douglas VC-54C Skymaster, affectionately nicknamed the Sacred Cow. It was a fairly ordinary military transport, repurposed for presidential use, but grand in its moment. This plane measured about 93 feet 11 inches in length, with a wingspan of 117 feet 6 inches and a tail height of 27 feet 6 inches. Powered by 4 Pratt & Whitney R2000 radial engines, rated around 1,450 horsepower each, it cruised at roughly 239 miles per hour, maxing near 300 miles per hour, and could fly as high as 22,300 feet, with a maximum range of about 3,900 miles. Inside, the Sacred Cow was surprisingly luxurious. It included a pressurized cabin, a conference room, and even a wheelchair access lift. On board, you'd find seating for up to 26 people, including crew and VIPs. One of its most famous missions was the Yalta Conference of February 1945. FDR flew in under wartime secrecy, escorted by P-38 fighters. At one point, Russian air controllers almost identified it as hostile. Intense drama played out in the skies over Crimea. Later, this same plane hosted a historic moment. President Truman signed the 1947 National Security Act on board, officially creating the U.S. Air Force. In a literal sense, the Sacred Cow is the birthplace of the USAF. Compared to medieval coaches or royal carriages, this prop plane was modest, but it marked a new era. Think conversation at Yalta, then heads of state recalling those moments. History was made at 22,000 feet, humble by today's standard, yet heavy in symbolism. Columbine 2 and 3. Lockheed Super Constellation. After the Sacred Cow came the sleek and curvaceous Lockheed Constellation VIP variants, Columbine 2 and Columbine 3, serving Presidents Eisenhower and continuing presidential travel through 1961. These aircraft measured approximately 114 to 116 feet in length, had a 123 feet wingspan, and stood about 24 to 25 feet tall. Under the wings, 4 Wright R3350 turbo-compound radial engines, each putting out 3,250 to 3,400 horsepower, twice the power of the older C-54s. Top speed, 370 miles per hour, cruising near 305 miles per hour, ceiling around 25,700 feet, and range about 4,140 miles. Big leaps in performance. Columbine 2 debuted in Eisenhower's first year and was soon joined by Columbine 3, named after Colorado's state flower in honor of Mrs. Eisenhower. They look more glamorous than their predecessors. Smoother lines, triple-tail fins, definitely aerodynamic royalty. One notable anecdote: air traffic control nearly confused the Columbia's call sign with a civilian flight on the same frequency. The fix? A unique identifier, Air Force One, permanently established to prevent future mix-ups. On board, they boasted improved pressurization for international travel. Ike took them on diplomatic tours. Imagine planning an address to Britain's king from inside a curving aircraft cabin. Tudor halls evolved into sleek, powerful, airborne constellations.
3. Jet Age and Boeing 707s. SAM 970, 26,000, 27,000. By 1959, the jet age arrived with a roar. The Boeing 707 variants, SAM 970, SAM 26,000 and SAM 27,000, transformed presidential flight.
A 707 measured about 140 to 150 feet long, with a 144 feet wingspan. 4 turbojet engines each delivered roughly 10,000 to 13,000 lbf of thrust, enabling cruise speeds close to 600 miles per hour at altitudes over 35,000 feet, and ranges between 5,500 to 6,900 kilometers, or 3,400 to 4,300 miles, without refueling. SAM 970 served Eisenhower, while SAM 26,000 entered service in 1962 as the first 707 built specifically as a presidential transport. It sported upgraded interior layouts, secure communications, and a pressurized VIP cabin. SAM 27,000 joined in 1972 and provided backup through to 2001. SAM 26,000 became historically iconic on board during one tragic moment. Following JFK's assassination in Dallas in November 1963, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in aboard this very jet by Judge Sarah Hughes, with JFK's casket trailing behind on the tarmac below. The oath occurred in a small compartment, unheated and cramped, while engines idled. That image, Johnson, Jackie Kennedy, and Lady Bird Johnson in solemn profile aboard a narrow cabin, became one of history's most poignant photographs. Imagine planning diplomatic flurries from jet-liner speed, with briefings and secure calls, all while barreling across continents at nearly 600 miles per hour. It was executive power accelerated, and visually sleek, more commanding in shape than prior props. Compared to medieval banners fluttering outside castles, now diplomacy flew in streamlined metal birds. VC-25A, jumbo jets Boeing 747-200B. Soon after, the United States elevated presidential flight to stratospheric grandeur. In 1990, VC-25A models, converted Boeing 747-200B airliners, were commissioned. Each measures a staggering 231 feet 10 inches long, with a 195 feet 8 inches wingspan, standing 63 feet 5 inches tall at the tail. Under each wing sits a mighty General Electric CF6 80C2B1 turbofan engine, each producing 56,700 lbf of thrust. Takeoff weight soars to 833,000 pounds. Cruise speed approaches 630 miles per hour, Mach 0.92. Ceiling reaches approximately 45,100 feet, and range extends to 7,800 miles, more with in-flight refueling. The VC-25A wasn't just big, it was built to command. Crew complement of about 26 people, plus up to 102 passengers and media. Its interior includes an executive suite, with stateroom, shower, office, a conference dining room, 2 full commercial galleys serving up to 100 meals at once, a medical suite, 6 passenger lavatories, and secure communications built on 238 miles of wiring, double that of a standard 747, shielded against electromagnetic pulses. On 9/11, this was mission control in flight. President George W. Bush boarded at 9:55 a.m. after being told America is under attack. The plane ascended rapidly, escorted by fighter jets, communications fuzzy but intact. It landed briefly at Barksdale AFB, then to Offutt in Nebraska for a war cabinet meeting hosted mid-air, a historic first for flying presidential governance. Later that evening, it returned to Andrews AFB. The image of Air Force One slicing above U.S. airspace as chaos unfolded below is etched in collective memory. This aircraft is more than transport. It's a rolling, flying symbol of executive power, complete with tanks, medical capability, pressurization redundancy, and command systems. Arguably the most advanced flying office ever. Looking ahead, VC-25B, Boeing 747-8I. And now, The next chapter. The VC-25B, built on Boeing's latest 747-8I airframe. These planes stretch even farther, approximately 250 feet long, with a 224 feet 5-inch wingspan, and maintain that same 63 feet 5-inch tail height. Engines leap ahead too, powered by 4 GE GEnx 2B turbofans, each generating 66,500 pound-bow thrust. Max takeoff weight rises to 987,000 pounds, speed to 60 miles per hour, range up to 8,900 miles, and service ceiling around 45,000 feet. Originally slated for 2024 to 2025 entry, the aircraft now faces delays into 2027 or 2029 due to supply chain issues, design revisions, and security clearance complexities. Rumors even floated that Elon Musk was brought into the loop to accelerate development, though that never gained traction publicly. Design choices are high stakes. Officials debated color schemes. Trump wanted a bold red, white, blue livery, while Biden opted to retain the traditional light blue and white palette to avoid cost and delays. Architecturally, the VC-25B will feature upgraded medical and defense systems, advanced mission communication gear, and autonomy for ground operations, all geared for modern command needs. If medieval kings stamped authority with grand halls, banners, and dragons hovering over keeps, modern presidents project power through complex machines capable of global reach. These aircraft, props, jets, and jumbo, are symbols as much as transport. From Yalta's high-stakes diplomacy aboard a single prop plane to 9/11's command center in the sky, each evolution reinforced the projection of power, continuity of government, and technological prowess. Imagine Edward Longshanks commissioning a 747 instead of marching across terrain. Symbolism moves from battlements and crests to turbines and frequencies. The modern presidency travels in style, speed, and security, up where only clouds proceed. So next time you see that blue and white fuselage taxiing on the runway, remember, it's not just a plane. It's decades of engineering, political symbolism, crisis readiness, and a lineage stretching from the sacred cow to a full-fledged presidential fortress in the sky. Thank you for soaring with us today on Kingdoms and Colonies Uncovered. If you'd like more deep dives, say operational logistics during Yalta, declassified radio transcripts, interior schematics, or crew stories aboard SAM 26000 or VC-25A, just let me know. Until next time, keep exploring the past and occasionally skyward.